The movie begins with Miranda overseeing a surgery at the hospital where she works. After the procedure ends, she goes to talk to her friend, another nurse, and excitedly tells her how amazing it was. She explains that she wants to transfer and become a surgical nurse. Shortly after, Miranda sees a pastor leaving one of her patient's rooms and realizes that the patient has passed away. She enters the room and finds the patient's son inside. Miranda offers her condolences and tells him that at least his mother did not suffer much. Instead of comfort, the son responds with anger, saying he wishes she had suffered for a long time. Miranda is shocked by this reaction and leaves the room. When she returns to her friend, they talk about the encounter, surprised by how much resentment the son clearly felt toward his mother, despite appearances. Her friend then brings up the blind date Miranda is supposed to go on. Miranda downplays it, insisting it is not a big deal. Later, Miranda stops by the dry cleaners to pick up her clothes. She is asked to sign a receipt, but when she pulls a pen from her bag, it does not work. She becomes visibly uncomfortable when the clerk offers her one of the store's pens. After hesitating, she forces herself to use it, signs the receipt, and leaves with her clothes. Miranda then goes to her father's house, calling out for him as she looks around. His dog suddenly jumps on her and tears her dress. When her father appears, Miranda calls the dog stupid, but her father explains that the dog is only being protective. She and her father later go out to a diner for lunch. During their conversation, he tells her that he wants to go with her to look at the new house she is planning to buy, just to make sure everything checks out. He also suggests that if she wants the dog to like her, she should bribe him with meat, promising that it will win him over forever. When Miranda excuses herself to use the restroom, a waitress rushes in and asks for her help with an emergency. A man in the diner is choking, and he is too large for anyone to perform the Heimlich maneuver on him. Miranda rushes out, accidentally colliding with a busboy on the way, and saves the man's life by performing an emergency tracheotomy. Once she is finished, the entire diner applauds her. The next day, Miranda meets with a realtor to look at a new house. She's impressed by it, but she also takes her father's concerns seriously and wants to carefully inspect everything before committing. Later, Miranda prepares an intricate homemade birthday cake for her nurse friend. At the birthday celebration, everyone is amazed by how perfect the cake looks and hesitates to cut into it. Miranda insists that it is meant to be eaten. During the celebration, another nurse asks Miranda about the blind date she set her up on with Kevin, a man her husband works with. She admits she really wants the date to go well and worries that Miranda might stand him up, especially since it took 6 months for Miranda to agree to it. She reassures her that she will not cancel. The next day, Miranda prepares for the blind date at home. While painting her nails, she notices someone standing on her front porch. She steps outside and sees a man waiting there and assumes he must be her date. She invites him inside and apologizes, explaining that she is not quite ready and did not expect him to arrive so early. As Miranda continues getting ready, they make small talk, but the tension in the room steadily grows. The man makes strange comments that unsettle her. Once Miranda is ready, his behavior becomes so uncomfortable that she asks him to leave. Instead, he comments on her appearance, grabs a pen, and lingers in her space. When she insists again, he refuses to leave and locks the front door. Miranda demands that he unlock the door immediately or she will call the police. She tries to escape through the kitchen, but he stops her and overpowers her. Miranda is then brutally assaulted and beaten in her own home. Sometime later, her actual blind date, Kevin, arrives with flowers. Finding the door open, he lets himself inside and searches for Miranda. He discovers her badly beaten and terrified. He immediately calls the police. He is later questioned and is stunned, repeatedly asking if she is going to be okay. Miranda is taken to the hospital, where she appears completely dissociated as her injuries are documented and photographed. She is badly bruised and gives her statement to the police. When asked if she recognizes her attacker, she initially says no, but then realizes he was the busboy she collided with at the diner the day before. At the same time, the attacker attempts to flee town, stopping at the restaurant to collect his final paycheck. His name is William. Unbeknownst to him, the police are already waiting, and he is arrested on the spot. While Miranda remains hospitalized, her father goes to her house to clean up the blood left behind from the assault. He is devastated by what he finds. After being discharged, Miranda stays at her father's house. She is clearly not well, and the dog snarls at her whenever she is nearby. The trauma begins to dismantle Miranda's life piece by piece. She becomes increasingly paranoid and physically unstable, constantly shaking. The sale of her house is canceled because no one wants to buy a home where such a violent crime occurred. As a result, Miranda can no longer move forward with buying the new house she wanted. When a realtor suggests they try again in a few months and casually recommends planting rose bushes in the garden, Miranda is furious. She isolates herself and pushes her father away when he tries to spend time with her. At work, her shaking hands prevent her from performing her duties properly. Her transfer to surgical nursing is revoked, and the attending physician expresses disappointment in her performance. Even her cake decorating suffers, as the tremors make it impossible for her to continue. Her emotional instability eventually boils over during another visit to the dry cleaners, where she explodes at the clerk behind the counter. She is asked to leave and not return. As she attempts to recover, Miranda spends time at her father's house with him and the dog she clearly dislikes. One night, unable to sleep, she makes a sudden decision. She writes a letter to William, asking to be placed on his visitation list. She sends multiple letters, but each one is returned to her stamped, "Return to sender." Miranda refuses to give up. She keeps writing until one day a letter finally comes back with the words "You win" written on it. Miranda visits William in prison for the first time. Their meeting is tense and awkward. She comments that he looks different and asks why he suddenly agreed to see her. He tells her it was an impulse, like every other bad decision he has made. She asks if he expected her to cry, scream, or ask why, explaining that she's not that kind of person. She admits that she did not come with a plan, only to see if she could look him in the eye without being afraid. William asks if she is still living in the same house. Miranda explains that she could not sell it and has decided to make improvements instead. He apologizes repeatedly, admitting he was deeply messed up at the time. Miranda briefly turns away to cry, but quickly regains her composure and asks him about the prison food. He glances at the clock and jokes that at least it arrives on time, signaling the end of their visit. Later, Miranda returns to her father's house with food for the dog and tells her father that hating the dog only hurts her. On a later visit, William mentions that he sent her a letter and is surprised she could read it, assuming it was full of mistakes. He explains that he was never good at school, but is now taking classes in prison. Miranda points out that he apologizes constantly, and he admits he has a lot to be sorry for. When she asks what he is not sorry for, William tells her that he is good at fixing things. As a child, his father forced him to fix whatever he broke, and over time, he began to enjoy it. He draws a comparison between them, saying that she fixes people as a nurse, and he fixes things. After this, Miranda continues to visit William in prison, now wearing noticeably more provocative outfits. She keeps these visits secret, telling no one where she is going, and lying to her father by saying she is attending therapy sessions instead. During these frequent visits, Miranda's behavior begins to shift. At times, it almost appears as though she is flirting with him. On one occasion, she arrives dressed in a striking white, backless dress, complete with makeup and heels. She waits for William, but instead an officer approaches and informs her that William will not be able to see her that day. The officer refuses to explain why. When Miranda hears this, she looks genuinely disappointed and upset. During a later visit, Miranda confronts William about how much time and effort it takes her to travel to the prison. She is visibly irritated. William explains that he was unable to meet her previously because he had gotten into trouble. He tells her that other inmates cornered him and stabbed him, forcing him to spend time in the infirmary. When Miranda asks to see the injury, William slowly lifts his shirt. She studies the large scar and traces the length of it with her finger against the glass separating them. Following this visit, the film cuts to a scene inside the prison. William's cellmate has stolen a Valentine's Day card Miranda gave him and is sniffing it. When William catches him, his violent nature resurfaces. He slams the man's head against a table, pins him down, and threatens him, making it clear that he is still capable of extreme aggression. Shortly after, Miranda visits William again, and they talk about their childhoods. She tells him that her mother died when Miranda was 9 years old after suffering an asthma attack. Her mother did not get her medication in time, and Miranda was the one who found her. During a later visit, Miranda learns that William is going to be paroled soon. The news rattles her. William, on the other hand, speaks about how much he will miss their visits and conversations. He tells her that he would understand if she never wants to see him again on the outside, but insists that he would never do what he did to her again. Miranda asks whether the prison believes he has been rehabilitated. William says they believe he has served his time. Miranda looks uneasy as William tells her he wants to start fixing things if she allows him to. Soon after, Miranda receives a call from her father informing her that his dog has died. She goes to his house and helps him bury the dog in the backyard. Not long after William is released, he immediately sends Miranda a small bouquet of flowers to her workplace. She calls him as soon as she receives them and scolds him for sending flowers to the hospital. The following day, Miranda returns home from grocery shopping to find William waiting for her. He tells her he is anxious to fix things. Miranda allows him to start working on the porch while she tends to the yard. As they work, they exchange lingering looks, creating an uncomfortable tension that makes it seem as though Miranda might be developing feelings for the man who once brutally assaulted her. She eventually goes inside to pour them lemonade, but her hand begins to shake again. She reaches for a knife as she watches William outside. William later asks if he can return to fix a large hole in the porch ceiling. Miranda agrees and appears eager to continue seeing him. The next day, William stops by the local hardware store to buy paint for the porch. While there, he is spotted by Miranda's father, who immediately recognizes both William and the piece of wood that matches the color of Miranda's porch. Alarmed, her father rushes to Miranda's house. When he arrives, he explodes in anger, demanding to know what she is doing, allowing her attacker to work on her home. Miranda pleads with him, insisting that she needs William to fix the porch. In her mind, letting him repair what is broken symbolizes him repairing the damage he caused her. She argues that this is better than spending years in therapy reliving the worst moment of her life. Her father tells her that what happened can never be fixed and says he no longer recognizes her before storming off. Later, Miranda receives a phone call from William. She tells him he did not show up. William explains that he actually did come by, but stayed across the street. He saw her father there and overheard their confrontation. He tells her that maybe it is not a good idea for him to come around anymore, testing whether Miranda wants him to stay away or not. The next day, William returns to continue working on the porch. Soft music plays as he helps Miranda paint an old rocking chair. Moments later, William begins to feel unwell and asks to use Miranda's bathroom. She is hesitant and asks if he can make it home instead. William insists that he cannot. After a brief pause, Miranda allows him inside. Once the door closes, a loud thud is heard. Later, William is shown lying in a bed in Miranda's basement. Miranda enters the room wearing a white dress, as though she's about to go on a date, and tells him that he passed out. William begins to realize something is wrong as Miranda suddenly drops her calm facade. She tells him that she has never forgotten or forgiven what he did to her. William struggles and soon realizes that he is tied to the bed. He demands to know what she has done to him. Miranda explains that she poisoned the lemonade with antifreeze every time he came over to work on the porch. She then reveals that she used the same method on her father's dog, which she openly admits she hated. She insists that she is not crazy, claiming that she simply understands right from wrong, and that what William did to her was undeniably wrong. Miranda then drugs William further, causing him to black out, while assuring him that he will not feel anything. When William wakes up again, he sees Miranda playing air hockey nearby, completely unbothered. She tells him that after the assault, she developed a severe twitch in her hand, but after taking her power back, the twitch has disappeared. William insists that she is not a killer and that she would never let him die. Miranda responds by telling him that she let her own mother die. She implies that she was present during her mother's asthma attack and chose not to give her the medication. It becomes clear that Miranda has performed a medical procedure on William, leaving him alive but utterly powerless. The film never shows exactly what she has done, but his reaction makes it clear that something irreversible has occurred. When Miranda tells him to look at himself, he screams for help. Miranda tells him that he was right all along and that she has won. Later, Miranda visits her father, who is still angry and unsettled. They talk for a while, and she assures him that her involvement with William is over. She tells him that he will not be coming around anymore. The film ends without showing William's final fate. While nothing is confirmed on screen, it is strongly implied that he does not survive, leaving the audience to infer that Miranda ensured he would never escape or return. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.